I'm sorry, roll call, please. Mr. McKenna?
Present.
Mr. Day?
Here.
No, I don't have anything at this time. Mr. Day, do you have anything?
Well, as the chief said, school is about to close, so we just have to keep our eyes on the kids. They're going to be idle during the summer break. I thought I would have information about places where kids who have the free lunch or reduced lunch can have food during the summer break since schools are closed. By the next meeting, I'll try to get that.
It's,
At the public schools. At the
Public schools, okay.
there's one, it's not every public school. It's Walnut and, not Park Lane, no, it's at the middle school. The middle schools, Park Lane does not have it.
Yeah, it's
Oh, and also in Eden and Bell Avenue as well.
okay. That's all I have.
Chief?
I was contacted by the new district attorney. She was to have a gun buyback in the month of June. We're in negotiation towards the last week in June to do that. She has the money. And also in July at Community Day, we're going to have a program again with her in regard to opioids and drugs that we're going to be sponsoring at, we're going to have a stand at the Community Day for people to look out, hand out information, and if they have any old drugs that they want to disregard, they can certainly bring them and do it that day. So within the next week, I called her when I got back from vacation, and I'm waiting for her to get back to me. So we'll be picking, we have a date, we just want to make sure that she's okay with that date. Other than that, we got a couple more guys that are being looked at strongly for other departments, so we may be losing a couple more people. The lieutenant and I visited the community college on Wednesday, okay. Yeah, somebody can make fun of my hearing aids. So we went down, they had a class of about 50 people down there. We gave out a number of applications and told them what we'd like to have them back in by Wednesday, so we don't end up short. So I may be asking to bring some more people on board. We got to see how these Darby's hiring, Chester's hiring, and I think one of the colleges are hiring. So they're going to be grabbing up some people. So I have
a question for the chief.
Yes.
The school was bad enough now without school being out, but the school will be out over about the next 10 days. Fred's water rights on McGarry Boulevard. I understand, but the kids are crowded there in the evening and at night. It's a bad sight for all traffic and residents, to see and hear.
The lieutenant and I have been talking about some problem areas that we have. We're about halfway through the last group that we hired, which is going to bring us in a better place, and we're going to address that situation. Unfortunately, I can't put the bikes out, which I would love to do, but I don't have anybody to operate them. But we have a plan, and that will be on the list of corners that are frequently observed. Okay?
I have one question for you also, Chief.
Sure.
If you don't mind. With the current level of the way things are happening, what do you think about the curfew time?
The curfew time is, everybody knows what it is. Certainly, we enforce the curfew as best we can, depending on the amount of manpower that we have out on that given time. Once we get up to where we are, I think that you won't have the problem that you have at this point.
What about lowering it to 9 instead of 10?
That would be up to Borough Council, and that's by ordinance. 9 instead of 10. I mean, 9 or 10, they don't, to be honest with you, they don't listen to 10 and 11. What makes you think they're going to listen to 9 and 10? I think that if we get into the mode, we can get into this plan that the lieutenant and I have been talking about. I think that will be a matter for curfew, because those corners, like the one that Mr. Blackson just said, that will be at 10 o'clock at night. You can't be on that corner. I mean, our biggest problem is we have all these kids and the parents don't know where they're at, and to be honest with you, in most cases, they don't really, they go out and they're not bothering mom and dad, and then we gotta call mom and dad, and a lot of the curfew violators that we pick up aren't from Darby, they're from other places. But to lower it, it would make our workload heavier, because at 9 o'clock there's more out than there are at 10. But I would ask, before you do that, let's give it like 60 days and let's see what happens once we get up to running and we get these cars out there, and see if we can't address that situation. Good enough?
I think 9 o'clock, it's just starting to get dark in the middle of the summer. And there are a lot of very young kids on the street until about that time.
And it's 10:30, and on Friday and Saturdays it's 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Monday to Thursday.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions for municipal services?
Public safety.
I'm sorry. Public safety. Public safety. I'm sorry, I had a very busy day today. I'm tired. I apologize. You want to address that, please?
I have a few questions for public safety. As far as the staffing the department, and you're losing more part-time police officers again, I'm going to ask that you consider hiring full-time officers, because we constantly have a group of police officers that want full-time jobs. And who can blame them? I wouldn't want to work part-time as a police officer. Every other town around here does it, okay? And it's costing us more money constantly hiring and training part-time officers, okay? Right now, your pension fund is in very bad shape, because your officers that are retiring, some of them are getting huge checks. You've already been banged by the Auditor General telling you not to do that anymore, and do not include their overtime or comp time checks, because it's bankrupting your pension system. And right now, you only have a few officers contributing to the pension fund, and that's not good. You know, you need to have more full-time officers to contribute to that pension fund, so it's not just on the backs of a few officers. That's just a suggestion, and I would like you to consider hiring full-time officers, because I think we deserve full-time officers, and I think you'll get a much better handle on your crime when you have a full slate of full-time officers.
Well, I kind of agree that we would do much better if we had full-time officers. Let me ask the audience, how many taxpayers in here would welcome a tax increase to satisfy the need for more officers? Okay, like another $500 a year?
Well, I don't think you should threaten us with another $500 a year, because it's not going to cost that. But it's not going to cost that. It's
You
not
said
gonna
you
cost
had-
that.
You had a couple items, what else do you have?
Right, it's not gonna cost that, okay? If you spend wisely,
We spend
you
very
will
well.
have, no, you don't.
We're very frugal in this.
So, another item I have for public safety, I've been requesting police reports. And like every other Tom, Dick, and Harry can walk in this police station and pay $15 for a police report and get it. I've been asking for certain police reports for over a year now, and I haven't received them. I'm told I have to go through the chief. So I'd like to know if I can have the police reports that I requested. Okay, why is it that I have to go through a different mode than everybody else?
There's no different mode.
Yes, there is.
No, there's not.
Okay, so where's my my police reports on Borough from a year ago that I asked for? And I come up to get them, and I haven't received them. But you gave them to Arthur Barone.
The police reports that you asked for from Mr. Barone were put out on the desk, and they were in an envelope, and they were marked for you, and all you had to do was pick them up. And
I did.
You were notified to pick them up, and you chose not to do it.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I needed them for court. I came in. I was told I have to go through you. Now I'm asking for
reports
other
were there.
police
The
reports,
reports
and
were
you
there.
told Lieutenant Gabe that, oh, you'll talk to me about it. Okay. So why can't I be like every other resident and come up and pick them up?
Tell me give it to me in writing what date you want.
I
from.
did.
Okay, well, give it to me again, okay? In writing.
So the lieutenant lost it? I don't think he did.
Do you want the reports? It's real simple. Give it to me in writing, and I'll get you the report.
Nobody else has to do this, but that's not a problem.
Everybody has
I will.
to do
No,
that.
they don't. They don't have to write you a letter and put it
Everybody-
in
I'm
writing.
not asking you to write me a letter.
Okay,
I am
whatever.
asking you.
I have another issue for public safety. I had to call the police the other day because at 5:39 this morning, again, I was woken up by Barone Construction. 5:45 yesterday morning, my whole family was woken up by Barone Construction. He's under cease and desist. Mark Basseni did his job, okay? The police department did their job, but something's happening. There's a disconnect. That operation is in a residential zone. He is not complying with his permit. Mark shut him down, but he continues to work and disturb the neighborhood. Now he's ruined my home. Eileen Mulvaney came here to the last council meeting, said she had a structural engineer walk the entire neighborhood. Well, I watched all of my surveillance tapes. No one came near any of my home or any of my neighbors. And how can the structural engineer, her structural engineer, whoever he is, I'd like to know who he is, determine that my home has no damage when he didn't even come on my property or my neighbor's property? We have significant damage.
Ms. Brown, I believe that Ms. Mulvaney will have to answer those questions. We can't answer those questions.
You can't answer those questions
I
as
can't
to
answer
why
them.
you're allowing a man to operate a business
Now,
in
your
a
question
residential zone?
I'm referring to your question as to how a structural engineer could determine there was no damage to your property if he had not. been
Okay,
on the
well,
property.
scratch that question. I know he can't determine
I'm
it.
telling you
But
that
how
the
can,
council
how
cannot
come you're
answer that
continuing to
question
allow it to
because
operate?
You'll have to address that question to Ms. Mulvaney.
Well, that doesn't go to Miss Mulvaney
Well,
as to how to operate it.
no, the question about her